Background of business. Mihad Printing Enterprise started its business in the 2018, specializing in the production printing and design. Mihad Printing Enterprise is located in Tumpak, Kelantan, and its passion is to provide customer with the best service and to satisfy their request to make sure they enjoy buying with the Mihad Printing Enterprise. The owner of this business is Madam Nuraini binti Muhammad Ghani, 26 years old. Madam Nuraini opened Mihad shop by using her own capitals and Maralon. This business started operation is from 10 a.m. until 8 p.m. The type of this business is sole proprietorship. The sole proprietorship is the business owned by one person. The business activity is business engaged in for the primary purpose of making a profit. For the Mihad Printing Enterprise, this business activity they had carried out itself. They are providing design and printing for the customer and make sure the customer are enjoy design and quality and keep repeating. The characteristic of the business. Mihad Printing Enterprise is a sole proprietorship business and the number of owner is the only one person, who is Madam Nuraini binti Muhammad Ghani. To prevent any problem that might occur on this business, they had registered with the business register under the Business Registration Act 1956 in the Companies Commission of Malaysia in the short term CCM. This business also had the full entitlements toward and the profit and loss. The liability is unlimited liability, where if the business fails and the assets are not enough to cover the debt, and the payable have right against the owner personal properties. And there is no legal obligation to keep the book and prepare account for this business. Mihad Printing Enterprise formed the concept of business entity in daily life. Business entity can define as the transaction related to a business that must be recorded separately from those of its owner and other business. Madam Nuraini usually will separate her personal expenses and business expenses into the two receipts when he goes for shopping. Besides, this business also applies the going concern concept. The going concern concept can be defined as the business entity will continue in operation in the future, will not liquidate or be forced to discontinue operation due to any reason. This is because Mihad Printing Enterprise expects its business to run the continuously in the future, creating a good service to the customer as well from the Mihad Printing Enterprise, make this business have many loyal customers. This indicates that the business should run continuously due to the high demand from the customer. Now, I will be explain about the classification of the possible business item. Firstly, asset. Asset are properties owned by a business. There are the two types of asset, which non-current asset and current asset. Non-current asset are assets both not for sale but be used in the operation of the business in the long-term basis. They are categorized into the three, which are a tangible non-current asset, intangibles non-current asset, and investments. Tangible non-current asset are assets that have a physical substances. For the Mihad Printing Enterprise, the tangible assets that have in the business are operating station when they keep all the product ingredients, digital printer, banner printer, computer, photostat machine, and table as well as chain. Intangible asset is the with no physical substances such as patents, trademark, and copyright. Manual investment is some of the money places in other organization in the hope of getting more money on the form written. But the intangible asset and investment are not included in the Mihad Printing Enterprise. And the thirdly is revenue. Revenue can be defined as the amount of company received from the selling goods and or providing service to its customer and clients. Hence, revenue is the amount earned from the customer before the subtracting the company expenses. The income of the Mihad Printing Enterprise had earned was from the sale of the stationery, stamping, shop, and printing and design. Secondly is the equity or capital. Capital refers for the financial resource that business can be used to fund their operation, like the case, machinery, equipment, and other resources. When the Mihad Printing Enterprise started its business, the owner used her own saving money is around 50,000 ringgit Malaysia as the capital to start this business. Besides that, the owner also brought some of her own assets into this business, such as a car for the product delivery. And the thirdly is revenue. Revenue can be defined as the amount of company received from the selling goods and or providing service to its customer and clients. Hence, revenue is the amount earned from the customer before the subtracting the company expenses. The income of the Mihad Printing Enterprise had earned was from the sale of the stationery, stamping, shop, and printing and design. Fourth is liability. Liabilities is the financial obligation of the business of external parties. There are two types for the liabilities, which non-current liabilities and current liabilities. Non-current liabilities are their amount owed by the business that are not paid within 1 year, such as a long-term loan and a mortgage. For this business, it only has one of non-current liability, which is a loan from the Majlis Amanah Rakyat. In the short term is MARA, and the total loan that has been borrowed is around 53,000 ringgit Malaysia. Current liabilities are amount owed by the business that are to be paid by 1 year. For the instance, bank overdraft, account payables, and the short-term loans. For the Mihad Printing Enterprise have not the current liabilities because they are only have a long-term loan. And lastly, expenses. Expenses are the cost of the asset consumed under service used in the process of earning income. Expenses can be classified into the two categories, which is the operating expenses and non-operating expenses. Operating expenses are related to the selling goods and the service, which include sales salary, advertising, and shop rent, as well as the administrative expenses and financial expenses. Manual non-operating expenses are costs that cannot be linked back to the operating revenues. Interest expenses is the most common of non-operating expenses. Interest is the cost of borrowing money, which is a loan from bank. Mihad Printing Enterprise has many operating expenses such as the utility expenses, rental expenses, machine repairs, insurance expenses. Other than that, non-operating expenses also had been met by the Mihad Printing Enterprise. Interest on the bank from the Majlis Amanah Rakyat. In the short term is MARA and asset depreciation.
So I'm going to present to you about the accounting cycle for Mihad Printing Enterprise. What is accounting cycle? Accounting cycle is the process of making the business financial statements for a certain period of time. This process starts from collecting of business transaction data until the preparation of the company financial statements. For this time, our chosen entrepreneur is Mihad Printing Enterprise, shared how the accounting cycle works in their business. The first one is collect all the transaction data from the business activities. A source or data document in business transaction is evidence to show the transaction has occurred in the business. It should be recorded as a journal entry as soon as possible. The Mihad Printing Enterprise collect all the business transaction as evidence for accounting purpose. The second one is insert into accounting journal entries. Transactions are classified and recorded within the appropriate book of primary entry, such as cash book and journal. Mihad Printing Enterprise was using the dual entry accounting, which will make two entries, that is a debit and a credit to the appropriate account. After documenting all financial transactions is finished in General Accounting Journal, the next step is to transfer them into the General Ledger as a summary. The third one is posted to the General Ledger. Mihak Printing Enterprise recorded all the transactions in accounting journal, and then all the transactions are posted to account in the general ledger, which is all the business financial account, such as rent or wages or marketing. The fourth one is prepare the trial balance. At the end of the month of an accounting period, Mihak Printing ensures the trial balance is prepared. A trial balance is calculated as the fourth step in the accounting cycle. The purpose of a trial balance is to ensure that all the entries made into an organization's general ledger are properly balanced. A trial balance lists the ending balance in each general ledger account. The debit and credit in each accounting entry are supposed to match. If the debit total and credit total on the trial balance do not match, this indicates that one or more transactions were recorded in general ledger that were unbalanced. If this occurs in the trial balance, Mihak Printing Enterprise will recheck it. The fifth one is adjustment the entries if necessary. Adjusting entries are generally made in relation to prepaid expenses, repayment, accrual estimates, and inventory. Throughout the year, Mihak Printing Enterprise may spend funds or make assumptions that might not be accurate regarding the use of a good service during the accounting period. Adjusting entries allow all our business to go back and adjust those balances to reflect the actual financial activity during the accounting period. And the last one is financial statement. The financial statements are the end result of the accounting process, which serve summary of financial transactions that happen by a certain period of time. A financial statement is presented with the purpose to provide the information regarding the position of assets, liability, and capital of the business. In general, financial statements include income statement and statement of financial position.
And now, I would like to present about the strength and the weakness of the accounting recording process. The advantage of the accounting recording process is maintenance of business record. Accounting recording process regularly documents all the financial transactions relating to the respective years and the book of accounts. Due to its scale and complexity, it's not possible for the management to remember transactions for a long time. And secondly is preparation of the financial statement. Financial statements such as the trading and profit and loss account, balance sheet can be easily prepared if the transactions are properly reported. Proper recording of all financial transactions is very important of the financial statement of the entity. And thirdly is the comparison of the result. Accounting recording process makes it easy to equate the financial performance of the 1 year with other. Management should also evaluate the systematic recording of all the financial transactions in the compliance with the policy of the entity. And the fourth is decision making. Decision making will be easier for the management where there is a true recording of the financial transaction. Accounting information allow the management to schedule its future plans, budget, and organize the activity in the different departments. And now, I would like to explain about the weakness of accounting recording process. And firstly is the express accounting information in the term of money. Non-financial transaction cannot be impacted on the book of accounts. Only the transaction of the financial nature may be calculated by the accountant. Indeed, the financial transactions are expressed in the term of money. And secondly, recording our fixed assets at the original cost. There may be a difference between the original cost and the new cost of replacing a fixed asset due to the time efflux, technological transaction, and others. Thus, the balance sheet cannot be indicate the true financial state of the company. And next is the accounting information may be biased. Accountants have a personal impact on the entity account record. Then accountant may use the various methods of the inventory valuation, depreciation method, treatment of the revenues and the capital expenses to calculate the entity income. Therefore, the profit could be inaccurate due to the lack of the objective. And the last one is the money as the measurement unit change in the value. There is no stability in the valuation of the currency. Accounting report would not reflect to the true financial position if the fluctuation in the price level are not considered.